S C L U T. Four little letters in my dictionary. Just one word in my vocabulary. The only one close in my lost memory. But I'm gonna come and be back by 5. Don't wait up, might lose my ride. See you in the morning. I'm so young and I'm feeling horny. I'ma cut to the chase. Take this tape, start for play. Yo DJ, play me something that'll get me laid. Don't mean to be rude, please excuse all my antics. Baby, when it's making you, I can be so romantic. Striptease in the scene in the club and try playing something obese. It's the way we get down when we hit A-Town and we got some moves to release. No doubt when the bass kicks, the basics a kick right up the matrix. Like Tetris, the matrix, build an apex that is smooth like that. Try kicking, a ripping, a flipping. I got everybody jealous. Get X on the track in the club and the ladies feeling so rebellious. From DC to Melbourne and Sydney, all ladies are handsome. All ladies are sexy. They gotta take you ransom.
had a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Good luck during the game.
Thank you.
Now, Racket, we are going to be hopping onto Hanamura to start. How do you feel about this map in general, looking at it just kind of from a point-blank perspective?
Hanamura has always been a very interesting map because I think competitively, Hanamura always seems to be the map that the most upsets are on. At least from my experience, Hanamura is like a map that can also snowball very well, or you can stay stagnant. So there's a lot of versatility in what you can expect from Hanamura as well. Hopefully we get to see some funky team compositions on first point, because a lot of teams defensively like to hold there and just they don't want to access that second point and just put all their resources down, and we can maybe see tourbillons or bastions perhaps even. So I'm really excited to see what happens.
Like I mentioned it last game, literally about an hour or two ago, Racket, that you're speaking to my heart when you say that some unusual, perhaps non-meta comps might be coming out here. I like seeing the.
I hope so.
I like seeing the Torb. I like seeing the Bastion. The Sim always gets me. I don't like playing against them. You know, whenever I see them on the enemy team, I start seeing red. But you know, if we start seeing those non-traditional comps, it certainly changes things up. I think it makes it a little bit more entertaining, just moving forward to keep us on our toes as it is.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess the big thing as well is you need to be patient when you're up against that type of stuff as well. And the good thing about having like a cheesy composition is that you have that surprise factor, right? And when you can pull it off on a 2 CP map, where, you know, sometimes it can be very difficult to penetrate through, I think it can work, especially with closer spawns and you have people stalling all the time and you're looking for that time bank. It can be really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. It certainly makes sense as well. You know, most teams are going to practice against what is standard, what is the most likely to be run, but they're not going to practice, you know, a Junkrat Widow counter combo or something along those, something goofy along those lines. So you never know what you're going to be seeing, but it looks like we're going to be hopping in here in just a moment. I'm really looking forward to seeing both of these teams. Once again, big oof. A little bit of familiar blood here going into the tournament. Kind of, if you're asking me, a pretty decent expectation coming out from them. They did perform very well, so I'm anxious to see if they're going to be able to play to that level again, and if so, how PSU is going to be comparing against that.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, especially given that they were saying that they did it for fun. And if that means they were just doing it for fun, it means they have a lot of natural talent, you know? So if they can exploit the natural talent that they have and see if they can perhaps even go further, because third is quite a very good placing for them, and I'm sure they'll be looking to get it whilst having fun at the same time. So you get a plus on both sides.
Yeah, definitely nothing wrong with two birds with one stone, as the phrase goes. But for those of you at home, as we are waiting on the rosters to appear, it is going to be Big Oof Energy in the blue, the big blue, if you like. Power Supply Unit PSU going to be in the red. I don't really have a good acronym or alliteration for that, so just remember Big Blue and Power Supply Red, if that helps you. If not, I don't know what to tell you. But moving on. Team Comp's going to be coming online here. And anything in particular you're seeing that kind of sticks out to you, Racket?
Well, most of the picks at the moment. I really am interested with this sort of double sniper niche comp that Big Oof are running right now with the Ashe and the Hanzo. So that's going to be definitely a lot of burst damage. And if you can accumulate a Graviton Surge, and I can imagine most of the time they can get those eliminations with the Dynamite perhaps and the Dragon Strike. So it'd be interesting to see how they pull that off. It has some great combo potential in that team comp and a lot of range as well. So for Power Supply, they just need to be very careful, use that Reinhardt shield and try to slow push, don't get poked out, because there's a lot of burst on the opposing team.
Yeah, we're certainly going to have to be keeping eyes out for them. Looking like Power Supply Unit going to be taking not the main route, but the side alleyway here, going to be bursting right through point. However, BH Chicken going to get broken down by Adrenaline on that Ashe. Again, showing the lethality that can come out of these sniper comps. Fantastic going to be dropping. Mama Raccoon falling. That might be a slight opening. We do have a little bit longer of a spawn run back from the defensive team. So if anything, Mama Raccoon going to have to be hustling before the teams get re-collaborated and ready to strike again.
And Hamid is going to be that character that is going to engage first. As you can see, they're pushing in through right now, and now it's time to fight.
Yeah, indeed, a very fat nade coming out from Soren, going to be landing on 3 opponents. However, it's not going to stop Power Supply from just burgeoning onto point and absolutely stealing point progress. And it looks like they're going to take it pretty much second and a half push.
Yeah, that's a pretty good push, and as you can see, this composition is very, very tanky, so even though you're up against a double sniper, they do have the health pool to sort of sustain through that, so if the healers are on point, or speaking of the devil, Fantastic is really low right now, so hopefully he survives that exchange, but now they're pushing through the high ground, looking to get a nice push there. Actually, there's a little bit of action on point, nearly stalled there with the Hammond, taking the action away from Ana as well, which is very low.
Yeah, absolutely, the Bob going to be handled in short. BH Chicken going to be the first tank to fall on Power Supply. Going to be Italis coming out with the Transcendence, just keeping everybody on that team healthy who has not already fallen. Tatsuya going to be doing the same with the Coalescence, however, the grabs coming out from both ends. The Dragon Strike almost getting eaten by Joshua, however, not going to quite be there in time. Going to be taking out 3 members, and that's going to be a reset for the attacking team Power Supply.
Yep, that is always going to be the threat, and when you look at the opposing side, in Power Supply, they don't have the Transcendence to sustain through that. They have the sound barrier, but it isn't going to be as useful when up against that. Adrenaline gets the pick at the start of the fight, so this will grant them more time. So yeah, that's always going to be a threat with that Dragon Strike combo. Of course, you can cycle it with the Earth Shatter as well. They have that available next fight, so... Power Supply have the Earth Shatter available next fight, so they'll be looking to get that off.
Absolutely, Soren away going to be having that nano boost, maybe wanting to keep an eye on maybe Mama Raccoon or Paralysis to be receiving that. However, it is going to be Power Supply pushing right onto point. The Earth Shatter coming out, only going to be clipping Paralysis. The Bob coming out similarly, going to be Argon taking the charge to get the Bob dispatched or at least off the point for the time being. And the offense looking very strong so far for Power Supply. We're going to see the Coalescence come out. Once again, it feels like once every team fight, the Coalescence is coming out. Soren away, going to be on this Moira, trying to stall, not going to work. And it's going to be Power Supply taking the first point with quite a hefty time bank still left.
Yeah, very good job there from Power Supply. Their team comp is quite unique, and they have a lot of impact initially when they engage. You just have a bunch of tanky bodies, and you have supports that can heal you quickly in respect with the Moira, and you have the Lucio speed boost, so they don't have the best sustained healing in the world, because once Moira runs out, then they have a little bit of trouble. But at the start of the team fight, when everyone's sustained, that's when they're going to be very powerful. So maybe if a Big Oof sort of sustained through those fights longer and the Moira ran out of healing, that would have been their best time to engage. But if you can't sustain that initial impact at the start of the fight that Power Supply had, then it's going to be very difficult to attempt to try and get back to them, because they are very tanky bodies. So it was very interesting clash of team comps there. Double Sniper up against the tanky quad tank comp. So it was quite interesting.
Yeah, it's almost a modification of the old school Horizon Lunar Colony Moira meatball style that we used to see. I believe it was just the Hammond being swapped out for the Roadhog in that situation, or maybe the Zarya. I can't quite remember, but it does not look like we'll be seeing it for the second time, at least not on the defensive team coming out.
Let's see, it could be potentially running now. It looks like you're having moats on the defense. So, sorry, the woats. That's what you call it, not moats. The Winston goats. Or a lot of people like to call it mountain goats. I like that nickname too.
Yeah, it's very appropriate, being able to climb very easily. You know, it applies. But we're going to be seeing a little bit more standard of a goats comp. The Zen goats come out from Big Oof Energy. They're going to take it right to point, and Mama Raccoon going to start swinging aggressively right in there. Longhair does not care, however, it will care when they get brought down to their knees. Garcia Joshua, who absolutely goes mad, taking down Italis as well. And now it's going to be PSU getting very aggressive, pushing back onto Big Oof Energy all the way to their spawn.
Yeah, that's an awesome result there from Power Supply. They're going to get a bunch of ultimate charge. You want to be looking at the Graviton surges for both of these teams too, so there's not that much of a disparity at the moment. But that's going to be really the deal breaker between both of these teams. That's going to be the thing that gets the team the kills. It's going to be the combo accessor. That's going to be the engage tool.
Absolutely, and we're going to be once again seeing the clash of the tanks. Italis getting brought dangerously low as well. Mama Raccoon being focused down pretty hard, going to be popped or Argon going to be popping that primal, really trying to bully those main tanks in the back into the back line. However, Argon will be punished for a little bit of that arrogance. The Transcendence going to be coming out of Paralysis, and in return, Tatsuya going to be popping theirs as well. The grab going to be coming out from Sujo as well. The rally, a lot of ults coming online right now. This is a dangerous proposition for the team that loses this fight, and it's looking like Power Supply going to end up taking it for the time being, and it's just going to be Yesterday doing a little bit of a retreat.
Power Supply do get it, but it was a massive investment in that fight, so this means coming into the next one, Big Oof should theoretically have the advantage. Fantastic does have the Sand Barrier, so they can do anything with that, but otherwise, Graviton Surge and the Self-Destruct combo is there. You also have the Earth Shatter coming online. They can charge through and get the combo if they want to, so see how they engage, because I believe Power Supply, they would need to get a really early engage in order to win this.
Yeah, and the grab coming out with the Diva combo, going to be popping that bubble from Aragon right as the Diva Bomb explodes, going to be taking out Joshua. That might be crucial in this team fight. Just going to be fantastic on the point for now, and it's looking like now Big Oof Energy will start to get some point progress. However, BH Chicken going to be cleaning up Yesterday just a little bit while the point progress ticks up.
Still have that Earth Shatter available too. It's going to be cleaning up right now. They end up getting some bonus kills in the end. Actually, Transcendence Force trying to get back onto the point. Is it going to happen? Ooh, that was quite close, but they might get punished for it afterwards as well. Zenyatta Lucio just end up narrowly escaping, but man, unlucky with that Transcendence.
Yeah, and it looks like Big Oof Energy going to be pushing very aggressive into this, knowing that the Transcendence is no longer an option for the defending team, and they're going to rush right on the point. They're going to barrel onto it, basically first attempt. The rally also going to be coming out and ending as they collect onto point. BH Chicken going to be one of the last few remaining standing of the original push. The Graviton coming out from Adrenaline going to be very crucial, and it is just Sujo as well as Joshua going to be on point. Joshua trying to hold the team back, trying to buy as much time on the clock as he can. Not going to be too much of a possibility though. And speaking of stall, Aragon going to be popping that Primal Rage. Winston so good at holding the point, but he's going to be feeding a lot of ult charge to the attacking team. It is pretty much just the question of how much time Big Oof Energy can buy off the clock. Italus going to be going down from BH Chicken. That will help in their stall, and now the numbers are starting to come online and in favor for the defenders here. They're going to be seeing it's now like a 4v5, and Joshua going to be taking down as well as Sujo. It is now going very back and forth. It's looking closer and closer to anybody's game. We have the Stallmay come out, no longer on that Diva. The Diva Bomb coming in from Yesterday, however. The Graviton coming out from Adrenaline, not going to be landing much net worth. We're going to be seeing the Maywall come up just a kite, and man, it is looking so difficult for Big Oof Energy to really close this point right now.
Yeah, and that's what you have when there's so many tanky bodies on point. Transcendence will come up to trying to sustain all the members. It looks like Big Oof want to really invest into winning this fight. They're not going to back off. They do have the brick. They're getting a bunch of damage too. Hammond will help in getting back there fast, and looks like they're cleaning up towards the end. This is a very good attempt here by Big Oof. Power Supply trying to hold it out. They've even got the Doomfist, the Bastion on the side, and trying to make their final attempts right now.
Yeah, it is going mad. Aragon really doing well to just use the Mei abilities to really stall out. However, as Tatsuya falls, it is looking like the reinforcements will finally start to peter out here for PSU. Lucio looking like he's debating getting on the point. Will barely touch as Fantastic going to be dropping, and that is finally going to be the point for Big Oof Energy after a very lengthy team fight.
Don't hold your breath.
I couldn't after that. After all of that.
Yeah, I feel sorry for the players as well. That was a really, really long, extended fight. Just imagine the comms going through for both teams there. You would really, especially on the second point of Hanamura, your target focus needs to be absolutely superb. And that stall was there for quite a long time, so props to Power Supply. They swapped off to stalling heroes. They had the Mei there get a ton of value, and they accumulated some extra time as a result of that. Big Oof, they are absolutely manly though. That the fact that they still dedicated all of their ultimates to that fight over and over again for such a long time, it really takes a lot of dedication and commitment for those players to do that. And it was amazing that they continue to get those kills, even despite the fact that, you know, the spawn advantage is there for Power Supply. They had the stall heroes. They just couldn't accumulate the ultimates to get back up. But man, the absolute dedication they had to that fight just really paid off in the end there.
Yeah, the tenacity for Big Oof Energy certainly showing up, making the success they had the first time around, definitely look pretty reasonable here. However, they are going to be on the attack once again, hopping onto the Zen Goats as per usual. We're going to be seeing a May Goats come out from the defenders here, and the wall coming up, going to be separating off Mama Raccoon as well as Adrenaline. That is going to be 2 early kills for the defenders, and they're going to take advantage and push.
Yeah, that's going to be the trouble with May Goats there. That's always going to be their most powerful start. When you're trying to enter, that wall's always going to be a threat. They need to bait that out, and otherwise you're just going to see a Brig just charge in your face. Reinhardt's there as well. They can get within melee range and get you out safely. So they really need to keep an eye on the cooldown of the wall. If they can bait it out, there we go. The swap to the fire to adapt to the May. I like it.
Yeah, being able to go over that wall, which it looks like yesterday trying to kind of take the vertical positioning more so to really get that height advantage, prevent the wall from being as crucial. However, Mama Raccoon still going to fall. The res trying to come in from Italis, not going to be landing. Tatsuya going mad, taking out all of the tanks as a lone Zenyatta. And with that being said, it's looking like the back off is going to come from Big Oof Energy for the time being, with maybe a little bit of peppering coming in from yesterday.
Oh, yeah, and yesterday just gets finished off there, so they really need to rely on yesterday attempting to get those picks in the sky. They do have the Mercy to facilitate that as well, and a Discord, so if they can just sort out their target focus, Discord a target, damage boost, that's going to be an absolute ton of damage that can be dished through. Or the Reinhardt charge ends up coming through, just misses narrowly, the Earthshatter's there.
Yeah, Mama Raccoon going to be receiving that projected barrier from Adrenaline, however, will not be enough to keep them online. The kills are once again going to be going in favor of PSU, and this is looking like a blitzkrieg right now.
It is. They're just doing a fantastic job at snowballing, and look at the clock. We're just going down and down and down. Nearly a minute left, and feels like still with an advantage. Well, both teams do have their Graviton Surge, but Tatsuya does have the Transcendence. Paralysis is actually coming over to it as well, so could be a very interesting fight coming up. It could decide the match.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing Gravitons come out from both ends. The switch from Mama Raccoon onto the Winston might be something to be worth noting here. The Earth Shatter coming out from Argon, going to be knocking quite a few members down, and the follow-up will be there. Tatsuya Sujo going to be helping that Rhine in confirming those kills, and Mama Raccoon and yesterday, well, perhaps not yesterday in baby form, but Mama Raccoon going to be the only one getting away with her life.
You do have that May ult available. We'll see whether she can get back to point, though. It looks like there could be a little bit of an opportunity for Big Oof to maybe get back to point before the Brig and the May do. Lucio is going to be speed boosting May back. And it looks like Big Oof are taking the opportunity. They're charging through. This is their time to shine.
Yeah, they're definitely going to see this opening and they're going to go for it. We're going to be seeing Mama Raccoon dive right onto point. And the whip shot going out from Italis onto Sujo, going to be getting that Zarya knocked off the map in the Goat's Cup. You want to get rid of that Zarya to remove a lot of damage from the fight. The May or Blizzard now going to be coming online, however, a lot of the team able to just back up, stay outside of that radius. However, the kills are starting to go in favor of PSU. Yesterday going to be the last one on point, popping that Diva Mech. But as I say that, we're going to be seeing Mama Raccoon with the emergency Hammond trying to just spin to win in this situation, but it's looking grim right now.
Certainly is, and that May is going to be freezing the Hammond. Slow ball, he isn't going to be yo-yoing around the point. And man, Big Oof, they had the pick at the start of the fight. Sujo ended up getting, or they did have the Graviton Surge pretty much up. And I thought after losing it, that there would have been a very good opportunity for Big Oof to win that fight, but the Blizzard ends up coming out. I believe the Brig ends up getting the initial pick at the start of the fight. And Fantastic ended up getting a good boop as well. So the pieces fell in the right places for Power Supply, and they really took advantage of it. They're good at coming back from these fights. They're good at reestablishing their position, and they're good at the video game. And that's why they took a pretty dominant stance in that fight. So if they can continue this aggression, confidence, then they have a pretty decent advantage with the time that they have available.
Yeah, going to actually be having more time now than they did initially, or at least the same. I can't remember if it's 4 or 5 minutes, to basically get one tick onto the first point. So that is certainly, you're feeling very comfortable in this situation if you are PSU Power Supply right now. just looking for that one tick. You can try a bunch of different comps. You have a lot of time to switch things up, really try to counter whatever the opponent might be throwing at you. A lot of potential coming out here.
And this is why Big Oof is looking for the cheese. They know that they don't really have that much or many opportunities, so they're just going with the initial burst composition. They're just going to set Bastion up there with the Mei. They have heroes that have value without their ultimates, and they're looking to get some early damage out, chunk out the tanks. The Mei War's coming out, not getting the pick that they wanted to. With that Mei, well, we're missing power supply can go in.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to see BH Chicken attempting to get towards that Bastion. However, going to be shredded before they can actually get in contact, despite the Diva Matrix coming in. Going to be cleaned up in baby form, and now the fight is looking 5v6. We're going to be seeing power supply really kind of bunker down into this side room, but without the Diva, it's going to be hard to kite this Bastion. And the nice Mei wall coming through, going to be sectioning off Argon. Not going to be quite dropping as a result of it, but they are going to have to be playing a little bit carefully due to the Mei wall being able to separate these teams fairly easily, and I think that's very apparent right now.
Yeah, the question is, how can the supports end up rotating there? It's going to be difficult. The Orisa pull ends up coming out. There we go. Reinhardt helps. Lucio ends up speed boosting. Now they're on to point. What a great play from Power Supply. They end up getting past the Bastion. He's still there, though. Can they end up getting an engage on them?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. The Diva, or the Nano Boost, going to be going onto Paralysis' Diva. And now this Mei for just a little bit of stall. However, the Transcendence coming out, going to be keeping the team up, keeping the attacking team up, and the kills are just going in favor of Power Supply, despite the tank form coming out from Adrenaline. That's going to be Power Supply taking the first tick and the map.
Props to Power Supply there. That was awesome. That speed boost. The supports were segregated, and that came in clutch. That allowed the rotation to come out onto point to the point. Sorry, yesterday gets the play of the game. I assume with the Dragon Strike, this isn't too unusual to happen. But yeah, that was quite a fun game. The cheese nearly came out in the end there, but Power Supply adapted. They rotated around to avoid or Bastion line of sight, and they get the W.
Yeah, overall, I think that they played that pretty well despite being sectioned off and despite losing the Diva at the very start. You know, the Diva, a crucial component to kind of negating all the massive damage that a Bastion can put forward. So props to them for being able to get that handled and get that secured. Now, of course, we will be going on to the map and hero ban phase. It's going to be Power Supply as the winners selecting to ban a map. Now, Racket, you saw what we just witnessed, the GOATs modifications and all that kind of stuff. Do you think there's a map that PSU would look better to kind of ban or prevent the other team from choosing?
Let me think. So considering the team compositions that we just saw, both teams looked like they did or they can play GOATs. So I believe sort of both of them would strive on having the variations. They both did pick the Mei at some points, so I'd be looking to see if there are any Mei maps that would be looking at. So let me look at the pool that we have available. This is actually quite interesting, actually. So no explicitly obvious Mei maps that I've been looking for. Eichenwald and Hollywood would be the ones that are glaring at me if you're looking for that. Mm-hmm. Most of them are maps that you can generally play GOATs on. Of course, we did see the double sniper end up coming out early on as well. So if we're looking for double snipers, Route 66 could be an option. But yeah, overall, it seems pretty versatile. I do like this map pool.
Yeah, absolutely. And we did not get to see it last game. So if we're talking about sniping, one map I would like to see is Ruins Ilios. Not so much a heavily sniper map as much lately with the prevalence of a lot of dive heavy GOAT style comps. But I think that there is definitely a lot of potential to kind of leverage those sniper characters in that map. And it is in our map pool. It's only one of several we have. I don't have the number count off the top of my head. I'm a caster. I'm not a mathematician here. But yeah, I think that I would like to see that as well as my usual suite of, well, anything where you can run Pharah.
Yeah, well, I haven't really seen that many Widowmakers lately. And if you are going to run the Widowmaker, you're certainly going to be seeing her on Ilios Ruins majority of the time. And that way we get to most likely see at least one team probably pick it. seeing that we've seen the double sniper come out once, and with a map that pretty much gives the hand to Widowmaker, I can imagine someone ending up picking her there, which could be very entertaining. Maybe we could see some fun Widow duels, but that would be certainly intriguing to see. Have we ended up getting a ban yet? Is it Ilios?
Yeah, despite us talking about how, or at least despite me talking about how cool Ilios would be to see on the map rotation, we are not going to be seeing it.
Fantastic disagrees.
Yeah, looking like PSU going to be choosing to remove Ilios from the roster. We will not be seeing it at all this evening or today and at a period. But we are still waiting on Big Oof Energy to pick the next map here. Now, I'm curious. I'm anticipating, because we've seen it a lot so far, that Eichenwald might be one map that we kind of see come out. I'm going to say either second or third, provided we don't go in. Well, provided we go into multiple rounds.
Mm-hmm.
But overall,
that can certainly be an option.
Yeah, I think that there's kind of that same variety that we are able to see in Eichenwald that we have at Hanamura first, where you can run the Mei, you can run the Bastion, you can run standard goats, you can run a little bit divier goats. Eichenwald having that versatility, having the Pharah options, having the McCree to counterplay the Pharah options, having the dive, having the bunker comps as well. You can even play goats. I mean, I say you can even play goats like it's not one of the more applicable metas here.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? We're certainly going to see the reflection of the teams here once the map is chosen, because, as you said, Eichenwald can be a very flexible map in what you can pick in terms of team compositions, or maybe they don't want that. Maybe they just want to go with a map that is recognized as something standard. Lijiang Tower is the map that I believe is picked just there by Paralysis.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go. That is now confirmed.
A very interesting. Another map where, Mei Goats kind of applicable when you get to that command center, the control center sub map. You see the Zarya Ryan run with a lot of Mei to kind of section off that primary choke point, or at least we have for the last month or so, I'd say. But we're gonna see.
We did see the Pharah as well, so that could be an option on Garden.
Yeah, the Garden Pharah also a very typical site we see sometimes to kind of attempt to go against the goats. But we're going to be seeing what heroes are going to be saved and banned. Again, this is going to apply to both teams.
So I wonder if Torb is actually going to be a save there. You're gonna save the Torb.
I think that might be the case. Fantastic been speaking for the team so far. Looking like they may feel confident enough to let Big Oof Energy just have their pick of the litter as to bans. I doubt they'd be actually choosing to run Torb on this map, so we're going to see how it plays out for them.
Don't ban Torb.
Yeah, indeed, and it's looking like Big Oof Energy going to be choosing to retain the Lucio, or I'm sorry, ban the Lucio, excuse me. So both sides going to be playing a little bit slower if they're going to be in those goats comps. Very curious, very curious.
Yeah, that certainly throws a spanner in the works. So without the speed boost, when you're looking at those tanky goats compositions, that's going to be a lot more difficult for both those team compositions to disengage and engage when you're looking at the Winston variation and both the Ryan variation. The Winston variation will probably be better without the Lucio, because you do have the Winston leap, and I'm not even sure if it's even worth running the comp if you don't have that speed boost in the first place, because then Brig gets a lot better as well, so you can engage a lot quicker. So it'd be interesting how both these teams do adapt, because that is a really strong ban.
Yeah, it's quite peculiar to see come out here. Looks like a little bit of an error in the hero system. Looks like the teams are only able to pick Lucio. So perhaps the Lucio might have been the one save. Everybody else just got nuked out of existence. Overwatch is now just one Brazilian DJ.
Look, I wouldn't mind seeing some nice wall ride competitions. Let's see who can. We'll do some Lucio races, so you can go to the other side of the map quickest.
It's going to be wacky races Overwatch style here.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think we're gonna have our lobby leader back out just so we can get this fixed. I'm hoping so. Anyway, I would I would find it very amusing. It'd certainly be something to cast, but I think it's going to be us just kicking it back to the lobby and getting that resolved in just a moment.
Certainly, it definitely would be very difficult to cast. Every Lucio would be flying up in the air. I'm not even sure if you'd have Lucio stationary on the ground at that point. It'd sort of be like a game of like when you avoid the floor. What's that called? It's
Floor is lava.
Floor's lava. Yeah, that's right. With the Lucio variation, I can imagine that.
Yeah, that's
we'll get
that's
back
what
to
it's
standard anyway.
That's what it is. We're gonna hopefully take it back. Lucio's now going to be banned once again. Ideally, we're gonna get these lobby settings set up properly here, folks. You know, lobby issues always prevalent, no matter what cast of Overwatch you're viewing. Don't let anybody tell you different. This is normal.
Yep, it is normal. It happens all the time, so don't you guys worry about it. It is it's just a part of a standard procedure. That's all it is.
Yes, and hey, at this rate, they get to hear our beautiful voices even more. So really,
Exactly.
they should be thanking the lobby situation. But we're going to be looking right into it. Before we get started, folks, don't forget to vote for your MVP in the Twitch chat. Always have to plug that before every map. I am almost contractually obligated to. But that being said, what are you seeing that you like out of this racket?
Right, so of course yesterday on that fire we did see that on the attack on Hanamura, so that would be quite interesting. The Torbjorn, it was saved, so let's see if that actually does end up coming up. Okay, no, it was a tease. It was a tease. Oh, that is awkward.
The minor debate, however, we're going to be having the 4 DPS comp coming out here from Power Supply. Curious to see how it's going to fly.
Yeah, and they only have one healer as well, so Mercy... Oh, and guess who got knocked out at the start of the fight? So that means no healing is available for Power Supply. It's going to be very difficult to sustain through this.
Yeah, absolutely. It is looking a little bit more favorable, of course. The res, that is the one player you cannot res. Speaking of res, is Soren going to be bringing back up Paralysis, bringing them back into the fight. AK Organic going to be dropping in exchange, however. The kills looking a little bit in favor of Big Oof as they're going to take first positioning onto point. Argon going to be getting aggressive, trying to get the ground slam onto Adrenaline, however, will get punished for it. And it's looking like it's going to be Big Oof with a commanding first point control.
It's only going to get better from here as they do have that Valkyrie online as well, so they can probably use that to accumulate some ultimates next fight with a damage boost too. So both teams running Ash and Pharah with that DPS combo, so a lot of burst coming out from both teams. Of course, in the for Power Supply they are running only one healer as well, so they need to start to get picks early on in these fights because they know that they can't sustain through because they only have that one healer.
Ooh, Adrenaline getting the big headshot onto 2 DPS. Tatsuya will get brought back up, however, it may not be enough. Soren going to be bringing up yesterday in similar kind. However, it is still going to be Big Oof holding point for the time being. Both Bobs going to be coming out first for Sujo, excuse me, and then for Adrenaline. Adrenaline's Bob trying to pepper all they can, but there will just not be too many targets. Going to be Argon on point against Rembest Girl, but Rembest Girl will be falling, and it's going to be a flip into the PSU's control.
There we go. Power Supply finally get it back, and they have a bunch of ultimates to work with as well, so they probably don't need to invest too heavily into this fight. Maybe you can just use an EMP, even like a Valkyrie afterwards as well, 2 probably max, so they want to be looking not to use too much into this fight. The Fire is on point and does get the pick though, so that's very good. That's going to make things a lot easier.
Yeah, again, that Mercy going to be the first one to drop. The hack also going on to yesterday. A lot of ults going to be invested in this. We said they didn't need a whole lot, but they're going to be investing 3 of their DPS ults, the Sombra, the Pharah, and the Tracer, and they're going to hold the point for it at the very least.
Well, the good thing is, for the most part, they can accumulate ultimate charge rather quick, but I guess the problem is when you have so many DPS characters, then they're going to be sort of split differently between the distributions of that ult percentage, so they're going to get it a little bit slower, technically. But either way, the re-engage will be coming out from Big Oof, and they do get the pick on the BH Chicken, so this is their time to shine.
Yeah, BH Chicken going to be brought down. Might be crucial. Yesterday actually managed to get 2 kills off that rocket barrage. That's going to be crucial in getting that point turned around. And with that, just as quickly as it started, the Big Oof going to be taking point.
And it's a very even game at the moment. As you can see, the percentages are rather similar, and in terms of ultimates, you have 2 apiece for both of these teams too. Of course, this Transcendence is going to prove to be very useful on the side of Big Oof, especially coming in with the Hammond engage. You want to sustain through that. Area denied. There we go. Has to pop it.
Yeah, AK Organic going to be popping that Transcendence just to take out some of the mines, to give his team a little bit of breathing room. Here, as we move forward, Tatsuya going to be doing their part as well for their team. The new switch onto Zen looking strong as they pick out that Tara in the sky. The pin from Rembest Girl going to be going on to Fantastic, but it's questionable if it will be enough. The grab going to be coming out, looking like it might help to sure up this fight, or at least even it out a little bit. But as I say that, Rembest Girl going to be falling, and the rest of the team not looking like they can follow up on this point. It's going to be converted into favor of PSU once again.
Despite the great Earth Shadow from Rembest Girl, they didn't manage to get the follow-up that they needed. Sujo ends up clutching up on that Ash towards a later stage of that fight, and they end up getting the jewels as a result of that. Both teams need to be very careful, because with Ashes on both compositions in conjunction with that Discord orb, you can easily get eliminated. There's a lot of burst to deal with, and Hammond engaging on the backside actually onto Adrenaline. Very low, there we go, that's a pick, and on the opposite side there's one too.
Yeah, that's actually what you needed as Hammond. You see your Sombra go down, that's going to be a little bit of utility taken out of the fight, so you need to get some exchange in your own. However, as we talk about exchange, it is going to just be Soren away, trying to hover on the point, trying to keep it alive for the time being. The Transcendence coming out of Tatsuya going to be keeping everybody up, but it's not really going to matter, as the only member left on point going to be yesterday on that Tracer will get cleaned up, as we see Paralysis in the win on the Winston jumping over the top turnbuckle, going to be going on the point just to stall out a little bit longer. Not going to be enough, as PSU going to be securing the point.
That was very close. 99% to 100. That is about as close as you can get in the game of Overwatch when it comes to these maps, and that certainly was entertaining. I do like the Ashe picks for both teams. I do really like her. She's a very fun hero to watch. A lot of burst damage, and once you do land good dynamites, you can really enter through with great engages, and you really need to capitalize on some good calling as well with all these burst heroes, because you don't want to be eliminated. You don't want to be picked at the start of these fights, because especially when you don't have the mercy for this this next map, you need to be more careful, because you don't have that resurrection available. Now we're going to be seeing the more tanky variation, sort of goat-esque team compositions from both lads here.
Yeah, indeed. We're going to be seeing the Mei and Hanzo come out for the side of Big Oof, looking to perhaps not go for such a tank focused composition here, but instead adding a little bit of DPS and crowd control to the comp. Not looking like it's going to work out for them. Yesterday going to be dropped very early out of the gate, and with that, it's looking like an easy first point control will go in favor of Power Supply.
This is good for them. The fact that they do get that initiative, especially up against a Mei composition. Mei is very, very powerful once she gets onto the point, but there we go, there's the pick. Reinhardt gets segregated, and now it's time to re-engage back onto the point. That's what they needed.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's looking, and we're going to be seeing if they are able to capitalize upon that. Rembest Girl looking like they don't quite know where to push, and going to be swinging onto Joshua. However, Tatsuya going to be having that Transcendence up just in time. AK Organic also answering with a Coalescence. The Earth Shatter coming out from Argon, not going to be getting too much, only Rembest Girl. The Adrenaline's Dragon Strike going to be eaten by BH Chicken. That is going to be very valuable. You'd like to combo that Zarya grab and Dragon combo, but when you cannot, it is absolutely crucial loss. And for now, it's looking like Power Supply still going to be maintaining possession.
That was an absolute miracle, that 8. That was wonderful, yeah. And they managed to nano boost Sujo at the end of that as well, so that means they're going to be having a Graviton Surge next fight. This is an absolute sweet deal right now for Power Supply. They're up on the percentage, and they're going to be having the big combo ultimates. This is their dream.
Yeah, absolutely. Adrenaline going to be on that Junkrat. Might be able to get a lot of damage as the Mei Blizzard comes in. A nice Shatter going to be getting 2 or 3 onto the now defending side. An anti-nade coming out, going to be hitting Joshua and BH Chicken from Soren. Not quite able to be cleaned up by the opposing team as the Maywall is going to come in and separate. However, the one member BH Chicken on point going to be stalling out for as long as possible, but will eventually drop and leaving the point flipped at 80%.
Great combo usage there from Rembest Girl and Yesterday, using that Blizzard first, then securing it with the Earth Shatter, making sure to get those members down frozen, confirmed, and oh god, he's trapped! The wall ends up separating him from his team! Rembest Girl is trying to finish him off, but can't get the kill at the end. There we go, Joshua Waters pick. What a wonderful wall. The Graviton Surge comes out for the encounter engage. What can happen here?
Oh, and the shield barely coming up in time from Rembest Girl to prevent a lot of members from dropping to the Diva Bomb. However, Tatsuya going to be taking matters into their own monkey hands. That is monk-ish hands, that is. But going to be getting 3 kills off the members that were stuck there, and they're still going to be able to flip the point.
Wonderful anti-nade there from Fantastic as well. When you don't have a defense matrix to eat that up, the anti-grenade can be a real big threat, and we just saw that in the cleanup crew coming out from Tatsuya. Wonderful job there. Graviton Surge coming out, Transcendence attempting to help.
Yeah, a very nice anti-nade coming in from Soren as well, going to be hitting Argon and Sujo, making sure those tanks can be cleaned up while in that anti-grav. The Riptire coming out, who is it going to hit? Is it going to find any purchase? It's going deep into the backline, making sure nobody can come back and contest this point. And it's not going to be hitting anybody, but Big Oof Energy will still be taking point control.
They do have that wall available as well, so if they can push up right now in conjunction with the Junkrat, if one member gets separated out from power supply, they can get bursted down instantly. We nearly saw that with the Reinhardt. There we go. The Brig is now picked off. Not dead yet. The Reinhardt, the Zarya shield will help. The Blizzard comes out too. The Nano Boost. Oh, this is chaos.
Yeah, it's the crucial component there, getting Tatsuya sectioned off by the Blizzard. We're going to now be seeing the fight kind of come to a head here. Once again, the wall coming in, Yesterday being a fiend with these walls, going to be getting Argon down and frozen, and the Riptire coming out. Once again, we'll see if this one is able to find much more purchase. Going to be coming around the back, looking like it's going for the supports. Going to be landing on the Fantastic on that Ana. And with that being said, power supply still not able to get anywhere near point for the time being.
Good comeback here from Big Earth after being at such a significant disadvantage at the start of this match. They're just holding through, being relentlessly aggressive, using their ultimates in coordination right now. Oh, the wall comes out, Graviton Surge. This could be the way back in.
Yeah, Earthshatter not going to be hitting anything. Sujo getting 2 kills off the back end of a very highly charged laser, as we can see, glowing with energy. And speaking of energy, Tatsuya going to be sending out good vibes, keeping everybody alive for Team Power Supply here. The Graviton coming out, landing a massive amount of people for the attackers, or for Power Supply that is. However, not going to be able to be followed up on, as there is only a healer and adrenaline on that Tracer. The Nano Boost coming out onto Rembest, however, will get focused down in quick fashion. Doesn't matter how much damage reduction it is if you have 6 members barreling on you.
And again, 99%. That is another very, very, very close match on Koth. Both teams really having their moments in that match. I thought Big Earth nearly had a great comeback there, but Power Supply, the Graviton Surge was great. They made sure to follow up very quickly, and they did it.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting seeing how both of these teams ended up playing without that Lucio to kind of have the ebb and flow of the battle controlled a little bit more precisely.
Yeah, you're right, actually. Considering both teams did not have the Lucio, they did very well for what they had there, and making sure to really utilize the Ana grenades with these team comps as well. Both teams did have very good Ana grenade usages in those fights, and coupling them up with a Graviton Surge, or once you get a great Earth Shatter, it can be really, really deadly, especially to counter that trance, and we did see that a couple of times too.
Yeah, and one thing that I think was really kind of crucial for PSU to really kind of reclaim that second point in particular was whenever those May walls went up, they'd always have somebody get sectioned off. That's kind of a given when you're dealing with those May walls. But we saw the focus fire. The May walls would go up, and we'd see column by column start to fall until the teammates could get through. That focus fire onto the wall, really looking to kind of claw their teammates out of that 1v5 or 1v6 or 2v6 situation, and really kind of even it up with the opening of the wall.
And that's the genius thing, right? Because you don't have the Lucio speed boost to immediately disengage out of the wall, or to attempt to get one person through, then get them back out. with the reduced speed from that comp, it's way more difficult to attempt to deal with the Mei. So I really do love the pick there because it is stylistically something that I would consider a soft counter. And yeah, big brain players, big brain.
Yeah, overall, I'm very happy with the way both of these teams are playing. PSU, just looking at the map score, going to be looking a little bit more dominant, but still both teams having their kind of claims to fames here. However, that is our take, folks. We want to hear what you have to say. Don't forget to vote in the Twitch chat for your MVP. You got somebody on the mind that you're seeing popping off, or perhaps somebody preventing other people from popping off, keeping everybody alive. Whatever your qualification is, definitely let us know who you think one of the most valuable players is in this tournament. But
a lot to pick from too, so
yeah, indeed. There are 12 players. I think each one of them can have a very fair run at that MVP title.
Certainly. And I think certainly with GOAT's compositions and the fact that I've been getting deviations from it as well means that some players can style a little bit more rather than having the sort of default there. So it's good that we're seeing a wide array of heroes so we get to see the resume from some of these players.
I definitely have to agree. Looking forward, however, going to be banning Route 66 as well. We are going to be playing on Eichenwald, as I hopefully anticipated, looking like the team PSU this time. Going to be choosing to save Lucio. Maybe they were not too fond of having to attack without that speediness.
Yeah, I don't blame them for that. I feel like without Lucio and you're playing GOATs, it just feels like you're playing the game in slow motion. I haven't really even tried that without Lucio, so I couldn't imagine how it would actually feel in game. I'm very intrigued to see maybe what the players think about that. But I guess just from what we've seen, they're saving Lucio. They maybe disliked it. So
yeah. We are going to be seeing the ban come out from Big Oof. They're going to be choosing to ban Zarya. As I mentioned a little bit before, Zarya oftentimes the DPS core of a GOAT's composition, able to get such charge that just allows you to melt through people with that laser. So interesting to see if they choose still to go with a 3-tank style.
Yeah, that certainly would be interesting because, of course, she has massive synergy with Reinhardt and with the adaptation to Winston as well in the WOTS composition. See if they can adapt to that, because she is going to be the Firebringer in that comp as well, because every combo does pretty much delve off the Graviton Surge, so we could be seeing some different iterations of GOATs, or whether we're looking for something different and more of a dive-centric composition. Let's see what these guys can cook up in the lab.
Yeah, I'm thinking that of all the points on this map, maybe third's going to be the most difficult. As I've mentioned before on this tournament, the Zarya Rein looking so favorable in that third point when you just want to have a giant shield that kind of compresses everybody back to their spawn. So I'm curious to see how that will play out without the Zarya.
Yeah, that's certainly going to make things a lot more different for both of these teams, and see what these guys are going to be hovering. Of course, we're currently assembling our heroes of the Overwatch team. It's the nice little suspense before the game starts. I do like it.
Yeah, they always give us a little bit of time to kind of take our guesses here as it is, but I'm a man who just picks recklessly without any without any thought as to what's best, what's meta, or what these players are good at. So who knows? I know I'm pretty much going to be wrong all the time, but looking forward, seeing some Winston on the board, at least for the start, I can't say that's unexpected.
Yeah, well, it looks like we're seeing a pretty, sort of similar to an old style dive comp without the Zen here. Of course, that Pharah going to be very useful on this first point too. And Sujo on the Genji, that's going to be something to look after. That's going to be very fun to watch. I miss seeing Genji, an awesome hero that hopefully we get to see some clutch Dragon Blade plays, and after the Ashe performance I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm going to go ahead and redact that. I'm looking forward to seeing some clutch Nano Blade plays. We're going to have Fantastic on that Ana. Definitely worth looking forward to. However, as we see the two Winstons come to a head here, both bubbles going to be going down. The pile driver coming out from Argon going to be focusing Soren. Takes a sleep dart, gets immediately brought back up. D-Mechs right out of the mech, and it's going to be Argon going from on high, dropping onto point, going to be getting hacked from Adrenaline. However, and now the fight is just kind of devolving. We do have the rotation coming in, power supply going to be on point. However, it will be an EMP coming online, going to be hacking 4 members of the attacking team. But it doesn't look like it will cost them too much. They will be able to know that Funtastic going to be having that ult, that nano boost online. But aside from that, PSU going to be able to take this point pretty much unhampered.
What a fantastic job there from the... Yes, that was a pun. Power Supply Zana. The healing there was absolutely amazing. As you can see, Adrenaline got the EMP very, very quickly. Yesterday has his ultimate up too, so that only means that they were hitting their shots, and Fantastic was too, apparently with that Ana, keeping all those members alive. So fantastic job to make sure that both the tanks and the DPS are making to sustain to that fight. Oh, yesterday! Was that a sleep that ended up cancelling that rocket barrage?
Yeah.
I mean, I doubt that they
very
would have
bold.
gotten any value off that anyway, but still, it looked cool.
Yeah, maybe expecting a swap. Yeah, we are going to be seeing yesterday's switch onto that McCree moving forward.
Pretty interesting adaptation. And looking to probably burst down at main tank as they dive through the flashbang. Going to be useful. There we go. Already getting value off that.
Yeah, yesterday taking out Joshua with that flashbang fan, the hammer combination. However, the mines will be coming out from Argon, going to be seeing if they're going to be picking up a lot of kills. However, if not, I'm sure the Genji Blade will be coming out. Actually going to be getting tased down by Mama Raccoon. Maybe I spoke a little bit too early. However, Argon going to be the one to watch in this situation, forcing the Primal out from Mama Raccoon just to stall out the point a little bit more. Fantastic taken down by yesterday. That's what you like to see. You like to see that main support gone if you are the defending team. And Mama Raccoon launching themselves off the map. Maybe you're hoping we didn't catch that one on stream.
Yeah, well, it was just a celebration, really. Nice sleep there from yesterday trying to re-engage with that flashbang. Has to back off, but now Power Supply have the advantage back. Adrenaline's going to contest on point. This is going to be very difficult for Big Oof Blue. Oh, the EMP does get cancelled as well. Oh, that was absolutely disastrous.
Yeah, that was a very painful loss. Sombra being able to build up that EMP very quickly, however, not going to have it in the next fight. Might still cost them. Yesterday, going to be taking out Joshua once again in the beginning of this fight, as we've seen a few times already before, but keep an eye out for these ultimates. They might start to come online. Argon just shooting a lot of shells down the main line with this hamster. Soren going to be diving in past the choke as well, followed up by Mama Raccoon. The backup going to be coming here, not looking to get too aggressive. Italis going to be dropping right into the middle of one of those mines, as will Mama Raccoon, and again we're going to be seeing the Genji Blade come out. A lot of kills going through for Power Supply.
What a Hammond ultimate, getting real good value in that fight. And then just snowballing, looking to take some ground as well. As you can see, Aegon on the top ground there, just hiding and looking for the re-engage as well. Of course, it's going to be a very aggressive composition with the Genji. They want to get in there early. The nano boost onto the Winston. This is really going to help.
Yeah, Mama Raccoon going to be diving in, trying to get some damage. The High Noon coming out from yesterday to see if you're going to be able to catch anything. Might just be for zoning for the time being, and in fact, it looks like it will. They're going to actually be able to retake this point.
Getting the nano burst onto the Winston early on in these fights, especially up against Genji compositions, can grant you a bunch of time and force a re-engage or perhaps a support ultimate coming out. So it's good that they're using it. It's a very effective combo. You only need to invest one ultimate. Here we go. Here's the re-engage. EMP! That's an amazing EMP to counter the Lucio roll.
Yeah, you really like to see that. Going to be catching 5 members out. Lucio ult basically spent for nothing. BH Chicken going to be taking a quick nap. The hack coming out onto BH Chicken going to be preventing their EMP from coming. Mama Raccoon smacking them across the face with that giant monkey hand. The mines coming out. This time they will be landing. Italis once again running into the mines. Not going to be dropping from it, however. The mines not looking too detrimental in this situation. Yesterday peeking a little bit far forward. Has to be a little bit careful on this peak.
It's going to be very difficult to navigate on Hammond with this third point as well. Not a lot of room to move. There we go. There goes the swap out. Oh no, well, we're just swapping out. Joshua wants to have a go at Hammond. So we have the Ryan now, or going back to spawn perhaps maybe. There we go. There's the Diva. Yeah, it would be very difficult. Here's the Dragon Blade coming in. Nano Blade. This is what you called for.
Yeah, absolutely. Nano Blade going to be picking up 1-2 off the back end of it. Right out of the gates. Sujo also going to be cleaning up Soren right out of the mech. Argon going to be the one who demechs. However, And with this, there is going to be a very tight spot for Big Oof to kind of contest up here. Adrenaline looking like they're setting up for stall, but not going to make it.
Very aggressive push there from Reinhardt as well. Oh, that's a massive anti-heal. This could be the way to come back. Yesterday pops up the high noon, self-destruct up in the sky. And this is as tight as it gets. Looking for the kills, and it's a very close respawn, so it's going to be difficult to secure this.
Yeah, however, the kills are still going slightly in favor, and a massive hack, or EMP rather, going to be hacking 5 members. Not going to be able to have too much follow-up. Yesterday, just trying to spin to keep people off point, provide a little bit of pressure release onto the point. Argon going to be swinging onto Soren, going to be killing Soren as the D.Va's going to be remeching. D.Va bomb coming out from Joshua, not going to be landing any kills. However, the same cannot be said for Sujo, going to be getting a kill on that Dragon Blade. And now we're going to be seeing Adrenaline on the Soldier. We don't see the Soldier come out very often. We'll see if they're able to leverage it. However, not quite able to get on the point soon enough.
Unfortunate there. They still had the EMP available too, so even if they did get on the point, they wouldn't have been able to use their abilities to attempt to stall out, so that most likely was still going to be a decisive win towards the end of the point there. But yeah, the third point of Vikenwald is always so difficult to secure because of a very close spawn, and the fact that it's very easy to access back onto the point with a lot of the mobile characters. And it was very interesting as well that we did see the Hammer on the third point, because as I said, it's very difficult to navigate with that hero in such like a tight corridor space there, and that's why they did end up switching to the D.Va. They had a lot more confidence with that pick towards the end there as well, but interested to see how both teams adapt here, of course. I'm sure both of them are happy with having the Lucio saved this match as well. The game, the momentum seems to be a lot faster than what it did last map.
Yeah, I certainly don't think you can argue with that. Now, of course, with Power Supply going to be having more than a minute on the clock, that means that if Big Oof finishes with or in overtime, they're basically not going to be able to do any better than a draw here. So they're really going to be looking to set a good precedent, especially on these perhaps first 2 sections, the streets and the actual first point cap.
And Power Supply are certainly going all in with this team composition. They really want to hold this first point. See, if they don't hold this first point, they're most likely going to have to swap off. This means they're going to have a significant ultimate disadvantage. So they're really putting all their eggs in one basket, and up against the power of Big Oof, Adrenaline's hook can prove to be a very useful weapon. Let's see if they can attempt to try and dismantle the composition of Power Supply.
Yeah, we'll have to certainly see fire or anti-nades coming out, going to be landing onto Yesterday and Mama Raccoon. Not quite able to be followed up too immediately, however. The Bastion going to be capable of shredding down Mama Raccoon's shield as well as Italis with the focus fire of Joshua. And it will just, in a very quick fashion, be the Big Oof energy being repelled for the time being.
Yesterday's defense matrix and the Lucio speed boost will be the 2 most important tools for navigating around. Okay, Yesterday has switched to the Sombra, so they're really relying on the EMP to attempt to try and push through this massive fortification that Power Supply have. Once they do get the EMP, it's going to be a lot easier to engage through that, but they need to get the ultimate charge first.
Yeah, as we can see, BH Chicken perhaps prepared for that Sombra swap, doing a little bit of spy checking, Sombra checking with that May Ice Form. Going to be getting the hack onto Joshua on behalf of Yesterday. Going to be teleporting out of there. It looks like the team is going to be repositioning the tank form, as we can hear coming out from Sujo. Argon taking down Italis. That is going to be a fairly decent opening kill. Sujo not finding much with the tank mode configuration, but still going to be kept alive, which is perhaps the most crucial component of this composition. Mama Raccoon dropping courtesy of a Maywall and just a Blender Fire from Bastion. And it's looking like, once again, this is not going to be it for Big Oof.
The good thing as well, they do have that Nano Boost available, which is a very useful tool up against a sort of pocket, or with a pocket Bastion composition, because of the heal changes. If you can especially grab that healing nade onto Bastion ult, then he's pretty much invincible from that remainder of time, and by that time you're also going to have BH Chicken's Blizzard available too. And as I said, Yesterday's ultimate is going to be incredibly useful to attempt to open up against Power Supply. So they're still waiting for that to come online, going behind, looking perhaps get a hack. There goes the pick out there. Reinhardt is down.
Yeah, Reinhardt being down does kind of reduce the space purchasing power of the attacking team here. The D.Va Bomb coming out, not going to be finding anything. However, they're still not too upset about it. They will still be winning this fight, and it's looking like Big Oof going to be pulling back a little bit sooner than we've seen them in previous bouts.
See how patient they are. Whilst now we're seeing this team composition really proved to be very useful. The time is ticking down slowly, and their power play of picking this very aggressive, or so I should say defensive composition with Bastion is paying off. There's the EMP. Can they get the kills off? That's a massive Earth Shatter too.
Yeah, really committing a lot of ults in this situation. The hack, or the EMP rather, the Transcendence and the Earth Shatter, all just to kind of dislodge this very abrasive comp, and it's looking like it's going to work. They're at least going to start getting some progress. We're going to see the first point come online, and more to come, as I imagine.
That was a very good sort of hold there from Power Supply, though. They're going to be happy with that.
Yeah,
pretty valiant attempt.
Indeed.
Yep.
Now, as we get moving forward, we are going to be seeing Big Oof do a little bit of a sneak peek onto the street's face. Mama Raccoon going to be holding at this inner castle door. Yesterday getting caught out by Fantastic. You do not like to see that if you're the Sombra. You like to stay unseen, not dead. But that being said, the bubble going to be dropped from Argon, quickly jumping out of danger's way, and there's a lot of ults coming out. Ooh, Adrenaline getting the kill onto Tatsuya as the sound barrier coming out, going to be following up with the kill onto Fantastic, and they get dropped, but still doing quite their part to get 2 supports down before the 1 kill onto the Genji comes out.
And they did that without the Sombra as well, so that was pretty good there to get those kills as fast as they could. And now they're going to be pushing towards the second point. The bridge phase can be very interesting as well, because we could be seeing some fun Lucio bips. And look at the rotation coming out from Power Supply. They're getting the high ground. They're looking for the wraparound and trying to get a better position up on Big Oof.
Yeah, Sujo on this Doomfist, looking ready to dive. Going to be getting the uppercut onto Mama Raccoon. However, it looks like Paralysis going to be ready with that Transcendence. The anti-nade making sure that it does not hold full effectiveness, though. Adrenaline going to be taking out 2. That might be the turnaround that Big Oof looking to need. The anti-nade coming out, not hitting any of the members of Big Oof, however, will be hitting BH Chicken. Fantastic, doing their best to keep that 1 member alive, and it is pretty much Italis and BH just on point, kind of brawling it out. Soren going to be coming to help their teammate, the Doomfist, and now it's looking like Big Oof Energy going to finally decide to back off and just do a little bit of a soft reset.
Props to Italis though, certainly survived for quite a long time, accumulating quite a bit of ult charge there as well. Now looking for the re-establishment onto that payload. It is in a very awkward spot there. Nice sleep will delay the engage coming out from Reinhardt. Mr. Raccoon actually will be slept, but now back in. Now look at this high ground spot here as well. So, the Dragon Blade does come out, so this is going to be very helpful.
BH Chicken actually getting shattered by Mama Raccoon, going to be taken down despite that, and both the Diva Bomb and the Doomfist Slam getting blocked by Mama Raccoon's shield. Some solid Reinhardt play coming through there in terms of ult blockage. However, the anti-nade going to be hitting Mama Raccoon, and the Sleep Dart going to be getting woken up. But but Fantastic looking like they may be able to make the sneaky getaway in this situation. In fact, they will. They're going to be backing up a little bit over bridge. High Noon coming out from Adrenaline. We're going to see if he's going to be able to net any kills. Will not. And it will be Sujo in the backline getting hacked and then killed by Yesterday and Adrenaline respectively. And now the team is looking like they're going to try to push onto point. And going to be seeing them kind of jockey for position here. Soren getting really aggressive, trying to chase down the Baby Diva before she can get the mech. Not quite able. The Lucio sound barrier coming out, going to be landing onto 3 heroes. However, they will not be able to follow up too much. Adrenaline being the exception, going to be getting Tatsuya. Tatsuya being able to get the boop onto Mama Raccoon, however. As well, the High Nude once again coming out from Adrenaline. The shield not going to be able to allow damage to go through. But the shield going to be falling. Adrenaline going to be taking out Argon as well. Sujo, Adrenaline looking very strong on this victory right
No way! I think Adrenaline aced in that fight. That was amazing.
Yeah,
no
absolutely.
way. That was amazing.
That was very good. Paralysis taking a little bit of a nap for the time being, though.
And a little bit of sleep paralysis, you think?
I like that, but I can't support it. That being said, Paralysis is going to be taking a nice hook into the side of Joshua. going to be getting a lot of damage, and however the D-Neck will not come through. Whole Hog Online might be wanting to keep an eye out on that Nano Boost onto Argon, and the hack going out onto Paralysis right as the Whole Hog also attempts to come out. That means that the Whole Hog will have to restart at 0% ult charge, and now the kills are looking strongly in favor of PSU.
What a wonderful hack there, and that means that that ultimate is basically wasted, and yeah, now they're going to switch off as a result of that as well. Big Oof just rekindling their fire at the moment. That sleep does end up coming out as well. Clutch sleeps again from Fantastic. Props to Isana, really has been popping off with those sleeps, and Paralysis is going to be coming back on that Junkrat. Has accumulated a little bit of ultimate charge. Actually, no, was trapped on on that trap by Sujo there, so wow, that was absolutely a crucial pick to the start of that fight.
Yeah, that was a little bit of Spy v Spy, Junkrat v Junkrat style gameplay there, with one sabotaging the other. The Diva Bomb coming out, the hack onto the Reinhardt, making him unable to put the shield up. Joshua getting 2 off the back of it. Fantastic even getting in on the kills. 4 members of the defending team going to be hacked, however, yesterday not going to be able to get those 4 kills by themselves. The Riptire going to be coming in just to make sure nobody can get onto point. And with this being said, it's looking like Big Oof Energy going to be losing this map. PSU going to be picking it up.
There we go. That was a very exciting map. And is that GG's or?
Yeah, that's going to be PSU getting the 3rd win of this best of 5 series.
Ah, okay. Well, regardless, most of the maps were quite close as well, and especially Lijiang Tower, 99% for every single one. And I think with just some small adjustments from Big Oof, they could have got the W there in some of those maps, especially considering, you know, as I said, in Lijiang, 99%, that must be a little bit nerve-wracking there. And just that this is what Overwatch is, right? You have one fight, maybe one thing changing in a team fight, and things would be a little bit more different. But it was definitely a very valiant effort, and it was a fun match, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I talk a lot about how Overwatch is sometimes a game of inches, where it's just one mistake can kind of cost you everything. And I think that for Big Oof Energy to kind of tighten down on that, maybe we see this go a different way next time if we end up seeing them play PSU again. Again, Big Oof Energy going to be dropping into the losers bracket, so certainly not the last we've seen of them. And in fact, we might be seeing them play PSU sometime in the future. But for the time being, going to be hopping into a quick post-game interview with it's looking like Argon. But while we're doing this interview, folks, don't forget, vote for the MVP that you guys thought, you know, performing the best this game so far, and we'll see. We'll be announcing those at the end of the interview. But right now we are just waiting for Argon to be getting into the chat, so we can ask him a few questions. Racket, what did you think was one of the stronger plays you saw come out of both of these teams?
I personally really loved the Ana anti-heals. I think Fantastic had a bunch of really good anti-heals, and I think when you're up against a team that doesn't play as much Diva, you really need to be looking for that, and that's going to be one of your winning conditions, right? Of course, Soju and Adrenaline, respective DPS players, had a lot of good plays. That last little push there towards the end on that McCree ended up acing the team. Soju had some really clutch Genji plays as well, and Ash picks, especially at the start of the Lijiang match. So both teams really having their time to shine. We also saw some really good Earthshatters from both Ryans as well. So it was certainly a match to look for if you're, you know, looking for a highlight reel. Maze were fun as well.
Yeah,
you can't forget the Maze.
Yeah, those Mei synergies, or not the Mei synergies, but the Mei communications and the reaction time of those Meis to get those sections were just very impressive. Overall looking good. I always have to give a shout out to the Hammonds. I love seeing that kind of gameplay. The Wrecking Ball, my absolute favorite. But with that being said, we are going to be having Argon pop in to chat with us. Argon, hello, welcome, congratulations.
Hey, thank you.
Now, how are you guys feeling after that win over Big Oof?
Yeah, pretty good. I mean, we definitely made some mistakes. We have things we can improve on, but we did well.
Yeah, absolutely. I like hearing that kind of humble vibe. A lot of times we got teams who are like, "Oh yeah, we had no worries that we'd end up crushing this team." But I like that. It definitely seemed like me and Racket were talking. It definitely seemed like some pretty even matches. It definitely didn't seem like any blowouts here, despite what the score ends up telling us.
Yeah, they threw us off with the Lucio ban for sure on Lijiang. We were planning on running goats for most of that, and we weren't sure what to do. so we had to kind of adapt pretty quickly to that.
Yeah, we talked about how the Mei play seemed very strong since there was not a whole lot of Lucio to kind of counteract the slowing effects, the freezing effects, and the sectioning of the walls. So it was very kind of interesting to see your comps kind of morph as a result of that. Aside from that, was there anything that Big Roof did that kind of really threw you through a loop?
Yeah, their Ashe player was very good, and so especially on Li Zhang, we had trouble dealing with the Ashe at first, I think, and then the Sombra play. They almost C9'd us on second point on Eichenwald. I did prime all over there to stop it. So that was kind of, I don't know. The Sombra was sketchy to play against, but
absolutely. And I feel like I was just talking about it before you hopped into the chat. I feel like we saw on Eichenwald, I can't remember if it was on y'all's attacks or defense, but we saw the Hammond come out, and then we saw you, I think it was you and another one of your teammates swap Hammond and Rhine, or swap Hammond and main tank there. Was there a particular reason for that, or
I played Hammond on first, and we played that on first because we were actually wrong. We were assuming they were going to play Ashe Mercy, and so we ran the Hammond dive to try to shut that down.
Right.
And then we just played Hammond. They had a Sombra, but it didn't feel like their Sombra was effective enough for me to swap off Hammond. Right. So I stayed on Hammond all through second, and then third point, I think right at the end we went Reinhardt, just to help push. So
yeah, it certainly makes sense. I mean, the numbers certainly do not lie, but again, congratulations. I'm going to go ahead and let you go. I'm sure that you're going to want a little bit of decompression time with your team. I'm not sure if you guys are still riding high, but it was a very good looking game. Overall impressive from both teams, and yeah, just congratulations to you and your team for performing so well.
Thank you.
And with that said, folks, we are about to wrap it up, but we would be remiss if we did not announce the MVP Twitch vote that you guys had been telling us who was looking the best, who was looking the tastiest out there. And it does turn out that Sujo going to be voted MVP on the side of Power Supply here this evening. So Sujo, one more congratulations to you, your team as well, for the win. And that's going to be wrapping up the events of tonight, this evening, whatever time zone you're in. For your casting pleasure, I've been Sir Waltham. You can catch me on Twitter, Sir Waltham Gaming, or on Twitch, Sir Waltham, and my co-caster Racket.
Yep, thank you very much for joining us. I am Racket, of course, and you can follow me on Twitter at Rackets with a Z at the end, and same thing with Twitch, just Rackets with a Z, because Racket was taken apparently, so I have to make a slight modification.
Well, it just adds personality, but
exactly.
For the next time, we look forward to seeing your personality on the next cast you end up joining with us. But for the time being, we've been the casters here for the Overwatch Watchers Brawl. We hope you guys have a great night and stay safe out there.